last video of the day. It's going to be a two-parter, but within one video. But why did the elf bring a step stool to the bar? Because he had a tall order. Anyways, in this video, we're going to be discussing the pituitary gland and how it affects you. In contrary to the pineal gland, the pituitary gland responds to controls growth, and if you were to stimulate that gland to the point where it thought you were in your adolescence, to the point where you would start to grow during the summertime with that extended variation of receiving vitamin D, in our own version of epidermal photosynthesis, as far as photosynthesizing our bodies to grow, since humans are considered to be walking, talking trees, and we do need water, and we are made of, when I was growing up, it was 60%. Nowadays, they say it's 75% water. So by having the right diet, by having the right proteins put into your body, and the right treatments, you should be able to grow by stimulating your pituitary gland to believe that you need to achieve growth through growth spurts, and you need to control it by systematically and slowly having the pituitary gland to disperse the growth serum within you. In other news, there's been a grandmother gene to be found, to where there are different genes in different parts of the brain that relate to the eyes. However, there are also parts of the body that relate to the brain that relate to all extremities, and as your central nervous system is essentially an electronic transport system. I know y'all heard about that before. ETS? But what about when there's a short in a plug? As in, you're trying to charge your charger, trying to charge your phone if you have an iPhone, and there's a short and it won't charge anymore. What do? You just throw it away? No. You just find where the short occurs, where there's a conducive current, and you find where it stops. And you configure, I know that's not a word, reconstructure that interior electron design to the point where the electrons and protons are allowed to flow freely throughout. But what about the human body and paraplegics? If this is the spine, and this is where there's a short, you touch their back, I feel this, I don't feel here, because this vertebrae is out of line. Honestly, all you need to do, cut the back open with an incision and protract the damaged cords and fill in the ringlets, if you will. You can have, if there's an electronic current going through your body, you could create an electronic vein to where the body is able to conduce and have that current to reestablish itself to the point where, okay, now everything is aligned up. That's all it is. Y'all over here got people in wheelchairs, and you haven't even thought to adjust their spinal cord and their spinal column to the point where it's conducive for electrons and for nervous systems and for messages from the brain to get to the toes and to the extremities of the fingers. If you looked at the body on a map and you see that it has veins and muscles and tissues, and you look at the electronic part, and you were to analyze somebody's body who's a paraplegic or needs a wheelchair, and you will see, okay, this is where the electrons and electricity flows freely, and when it gets to this part, it's black. All you have to do is, just like you change the spark plugs to a car, revigorize or revitalize, or just entirely transplace into the point where you have a whole new levels of electrons flowing throughout. Now, me personally, you have to understand what part of the brain connects to what part of the body. And if only this part of the brain connects and this part doesn't, then you're going to need to hotwire the body to the point where you have the part that connects the hands to also connect the feet as far as the part that connects the feet. If that part's dead, we have to figure out a way to restart, or even if you have to make an extraction and put something cybernetic in the back of there to connect to the body. If that means you have to take the bones out, take out the marrow because it's poisoned. If that means you have to readjust the muscles to the point where you have cybernetic bones connected to a cybernetic electricity, which connects to your part of your vertebrae electricity that does conduce, that's connected to the brain. If you can have a hearing aid that's connected to your head and to your ear, you should be able to have an aid that connects to your body. And by utilizing that pituitary gland to strengthen and push out pheromones as far as growth hormones throughout the body to the extremities, the next thing you know, that body could electrify itself to the point where instead of it not being able to stand, it's able to use the brain to actively activate the body. All you're doing is taking out the battery that doesn't work, so to speak, like in a car. If you have a radiator that's cracked, if the motor needs to be replaced, if the battery is faulty, take all that out and replace it. All you need to do is keep the brain active. Even if they're unconscious, they need stimulation via music and via electricity, minor shocks, just to keep the blood flowing, keep the cybernetics going. Seeing as when people go under surgery, why do they die? Not enough oxygen to the brain, not enough brain activity. You should be keeping this so active that even if there's no lungs moving, even if there's no heart beating, this part right here, within water, within liquid, within the fluid of your head, stays so active that when you become conscious again, your brain says, okay, now I just need to figure out something. And just get them to electronically shock themselves to the point where the brain says, okay, when I think here, this shock happens. And by this shock happening, I feel the shock down here. Now, it's all about hot wiring. If you just consider this, when you have an old TV, you replace it with a new TV. And when some people are like, oh my goodness, I don't know how to work my TV. HDMI 1 to HDMI 2. Your body is like a computer. We all know this. If your HDMI plug is in your spine is unplugged, get a new one. Just like in PlayStation, you used to have the 3-pronged red, white, and yellow. We got an HDMI now. That's only one plug. You should not be so simple. It should not be so difficult. All you need to do is just realign the chakras, if you will, and get to it. You have a blessed day.